it. That's good.
Wherever you want, over there. Or if you want to pull a chair, one of those, it's up to you. All right, so I guess we'll start with this teaching.
And then you have to work, but if you want to be our guest, no problem.
I'll basically teach from memory the first page of Etz Chaim, the Kabbalah of the Arizal. Etz Chaim, the classic Luriana Kabbalah. Right? I mean, you and I did this. Remember when we did the recording of this? So I'm going to give a certain angle. There's a lot to be said, but I'll give a certain angle. The goal is to repair the world, right? There's something called the shattered vessels, which is a nice way of saying there is work to do in this world. When we work in this world, we release the tension. The tension sends the influence above, which causes an influence to come down. It's kind of like an engine, right? And you're going to say, what do you mean by influence? What do you mean by work? Don't worry about that yet. Just understand, there is something to do in this world, and you do it. And you cause energy to be released like a nuclear, right? You shake the world, so there's a release of energy. That causes more energy to come down. But it's obviously not the same energy. Otherwise, it would just be more of you. So you can see how it's male-female, right? Just in terms of something else. If I shake up the ground, and that causes like a nuclear reaction, right? There's a release of energy. And there's a new energy that comes down. Is the new energy that comes down the same as the energy that went up? No. I was very thirsty. That's an energy. Hugo shook my world. Said, we're going to go sit at the bottom of this place. That shook my world, didn't it? I was very comfortable out there. I was part of the fabric. Hugo made me get up, shook my world. We're going now. That's energy. Major release. Look at the worlds that shifted to come here. It changed lives. I mean, really, it did. The energy changed. All of us got up. And I learned this on an airplane. When my flight got canceled, look at what happened. They would not fly the plane. Just bring another plane. Just bring another plane. But transporting a human being is a very big deal. Right? Why is there so much security and things with the airport? Because transferring a human is massive. There's a mazel, there's an energy, a spirituality with a human. I just moved from Sfat to Modin.
I'm sure that you're including the terrorist issue we have.
That's it. So moving from Sfat to Modin was a massive ordeal. Moving my whole family and house. It wasn't just bodies of people moving. You're moving their world. And the world of a human is huge. It's called change of place, change of mazal. Massive to move a human being. We're not just, we're the crown of creation for a reason. Right? Your whole world comes with you. So even just to get up and change a location, the whole mazel of the universe changes. When it rains and when it's sun, is different in the world, is it not? When the sun shines, when it rains and when it snows, cold and hot. The difference is you're wearing a sweater or a shirt. Then that means there's companies that make long shirts and short sleeve shirts. Those are huge industries which change continents. For you, it's simple. You buy a shirt. But for the world, there's an infrastructure behind the shirt. So when you shake your world, there's an energy release, correct? And so it causes a new energy to come down. I would not have had this iced tea if we would not have come here. So you see, it's a categorically different energy. And you say, so what? You could have drank a Coke over there and an iced tea here. Not so. We're doing Torah. The drink, you make a bracha on it, you ingest it, it changes your mazel of how you're going to teach. Everything is cause and effect. So if I would have been more, let's say, lazy and tired up there, I would have had a different Torah lesson. It would have affected you. Everything is cause and effect. There's nothing that doesn't. That is how the world works. That's the Torah of Shem on one foot. That's my books with the Torah of Shem. So in Kabbalah, there's something to do. Right? We're not just congregating here looking at the walls. What are we doing? We're doing. What is this world called in the Kabbalah? Asiya, the world of doing. You can't, as Russell would say, you can't not do. You can't not. You can't not do it. So we are doing. And what we're doing, the more we do with intention what we're doing, you shake the ground. Like farming, that's how you do it. You shake the ground. And that releases the energy for there to be a new energy to come down. Right? So the energy that comes down is Mayan Duchrin, the masculine waters. The energy that goes up is Mayan Nukvin. As Russell says, Mayan Nukvin. The female waters. Basically, one is masculine, one is female. Okay, so there's something called masculine and feminine. Agreed? There's the energy below that we talked about, and the energy from above. We know in Kabbalah the energy from above is called what? Masculine. You either call it Yesod in Kabbalah, which is the masculine figure. You can call it Tiferet, which is like a higher revelation of it. Right? You're just Adam. You're just some guy. You also have a name. Sure, you have definition if I choose to acknowledge your definition, right? So there's Yesod, which is just guy, and then there's Hugo. Right? There's me, I'm just some guy. David. Yesod, Tiferet. Then there's something called Zeran Pin, which is the guy David Katz. The guy, Hugo, right? Together, the male in relationship to the female. Okay, now we've established that. With me? The male, and a female can be a male. It's anyone bringing the shefa. The shefa is the bounty, the energy striking down. Energy comes down regardless. The shefa comes down, energy comes down. It's happening. Right now, if we all kind of freeze, the energy is still coming down. You're just choosing not to do. A goy, so to speak, refuses to do. The klipa prevents him from doing. Ger is where you get to the point where mankind starts doing. A Jew who rejects the Torah has the law of a goy, nachri. So just because you're Jewish doesn't mean now all of a sudden you're Moshe Rabbeinu. Ger is the meeting ground where both sides are doing. This is why all the great tzaddikim in the past got ger. It means you're doing. Gerim is doing. Abraham made gerim. Right? Everyone's doing. So the idea is, even if you're not doing, there's still what to do. It's like, gerim exists in the world, whether they're ger by knowledge, whether Jews are there to acknowledge it or not. I mean, I proved this like in my Texas tour, right? The ger is and it exists. So now, you as the man, as the masculine, you need to align your heart and mind to do. It's mitzvot, Torah, Asiya, right? So as there's naturally a constant shefa coming down, you're aligned to come down, striking this world, tilling the soil, breaking it up, causing a release, right? Now, how does it work practically? Practically, the downward pull is called creating vessels. The vessels allow the hidden light in creation to go back up, like a ladle, right? You're allowing this to happen Kabbalistically. Again, I know this is abstract. It's going to get real normal in 2 seconds. Hold on, you're going to find out what it's like. The breaking the vessels, the doing, the working the soil is to release the light. There's light in this room, in this world, stuck. You can't see it because you're not holy enough. You're klippa. I'm klippa. Otherwise we'd see it. When we lose our klippa, when we get holy doing God's will, we recognize the light, release the energy, and divine flow comes down.
When that comes, when the Mashiach comes?
When Mashiach comes when it's done. We're doing it now. So now I'm going to explain how you actually do it. Remember, everyone does it. All you need is the consciousness that you're doing it. You're going to do it. You're bringing Mashiach whether you like it or not. You're doing this whole male-female work whether you like it or not. You want consciousness of it. So if me and Malcolm are going to talk about the football game between the Steelers and the Bengals, and we're drinking beers, maybe smoking a little bit and having a good time, we're doing the spiritual work. But we're not in holy vessels. So we're unaware. We may be doing a textbook Kabbalistic repair of the world. But we're not aware of it at all. It's beer, beer. But we're doing it, if we would just get holy, we would be aware of it. Now, if Moses was over here watching these two, idolaters, he would say, look at this. This is a perfect example of Kabbalah. He would say football is like it's seamless, and he would realize the whole world is God's will. Not the vessels that we're in, but the concept within. Moses would see the concept. He doesn't know who Troy Aikman is. He doesn't care. Now, if we would holy up our conversation, then we wouldn't be talking about football, unless it was the concept like Moshe Rabbeinu, then we would understand how we're repairing the world also. Now here comes the final part. Ready? We're talking about building the vessels to scoop out the light, return the light, and bring down new vessels. This is what every man does. I'll give one last example before I give the thing. Ready? There's a wrestler, a high school kid, he's a champion. And they're all, the film crew's there. Oh man, this is great. Malcolm's the state champion. Let's go interview Malcolm. Malcolm, how does it feel after you won over the kid named the Kid? Malcolm's like, well, I have great discipline and I have great coaches, but I'm humble. I'm humble, and I got great friends. I'm in a great program. My dad's always there. My dad is always like, Malcolm, you got to focus and do it. And I'm like, I know. I got to focus and do it. So my dad's awesome. And thank God I was able to win. Like, wow. So then everybody talks online like, wow, Malcolm is such an animal. He's so great. He's the best. But he's humble. What I like about Malcolm is he knows he's the champion, but he's humble. So look what Malcolm had to do. He's a kid who wins the state tournament. On one hand, he knows he's the best. I just pinned the kid in 10 seconds. Obviously, I'm the best. But I can't go on TV like, hey, everybody, it's Malcolm again. I'm the best. I'm basically God's creation of wrestling. Sucks to be you. I'm pretty good. You guys are all pathetic. But I'm humble. So he has to think on the spot. He just won. He's sweating. And he's thinking, my God, how do I say I'm the best that ever was? But God did it, and I'm humble, and I can't tell you I'm the best, but you got to walk away saying this kid's humble. He's got to figure it out. So he's got to be like, yeah, I'm the best, but my coaches made me the best, and then I did the best. But my partner showed it to me. Thanks, Bob. That's Kabbalah. But he's unholy. He's unaware what he's doing. Now, Kabbalah would say he's an Anav, he had Chachma, he had Netzach, he brought the Shef and the Mohin down into Malkut. Right, he's got to figure it out. The Kabbalah. Because here's the point. What is a man doing? He's bringing down the vessels of this world. The Malcolm program had to invent the vessels. Right? How do you invent, I'm great, I'm a victor, and I'm humble, in a world that doesn't appreciate humble, humility, and greatness? Most people aren't great. Most people aren't humble. Most people don't win. I won, I'm great, and I'm humble, but how do I say that? He has to invent it. And he's going to fail if he doesn't invent it well. We're going to say you're a jerk, you paid off the ref, and you're a fly-by-night whatever. This is our challenge as men, mankind. You have to invent the vessels. Right now, Why did I just take 25 minutes to explain this the way I did? I had to invent a vessel to explain to you what this is about. Because I've never sat with a Hugo and a Malcolm. What's your name again? Huh? Matthew? Right? I'm sorry, your name is? Miriam, that's right, and Amanda. I never sat with this group before. So you might not agree with you, and you might not agree with you, and you might not agree with you, and you might not agree with him. So if we want chaos, then I'm going to focus on Matthew. I don't really care about you or you. You guys are just here. I'm talking to Matthew. Disaster. Disaster. I only talk to guys in black shirts. Sorry. I only talk to people that are from Montreal, the people I know. I don't like you if I don't know you. I don't know you. I only know Hugo. It's not going to go very well. So if I'm going to be an effective communicator, everybody's got to get the message, right? I want you and you and you to get it together. Because if I gear it to Hugo, Malcolm's going to be sitting there like, I don't get it. And if you get it, but he, so we got to get it together. Whether or not I succeed is kind of irrelevant. I can't make you get it. But I have to have in mind the group. So the golden question is, what does it mean that you got it? I'm asking you. What does it mean that you got it? I explain it and you get it. Are you aware of the fact that I've been explaining? Yes or no? Are you aware of the fact that I'm trying to create a way to explain it to you? That you understand it in your world, in your words, and this reality? Yes or no? Are you aware of the fact that this has never happened before? We've never done this. We're inventing this as we go. You don't know my words. You don't know my vessels. I have to put my vessels in new vessels that you understand them in. Right? You don't know Mohin, all these things. So I have to convey it in English in a way, try my best. My job is to study Torah, to be prepared and trained, to hopefully you guys get it. Correct? So then can you sense that I'm struggling to give it over? I'm working on it. I'm trying to grasp it and give it over. Yes or no? Why? Why are we here? Why am I giving it over? Obviously I have something to say.
Absolutely. You're convinced about what you're saying.
Right. But why can't I just be happy of having it in my own head? Why can't I just drink my tea and let you guys figure it out for yourselves?
Well, why do we have children? Because you're,
exactly. This is the thing. Because you just do.
You're making that.
Yeah. A guy that has kids, you don't say, wow, you must love humanity. You have children. No, I just do. Right? So now, when I give it over, did you get anything I said? Any part of it? Or the whole thing? Did you get it? What did you get? Tell me one thing that you went, anything. Individual concepts.
Well, I have trouble to say it in English, but the main point is to take, like you said, take consciousness, and it's the human scene, the way, la façon que la perspective humaine, quand elle est éveillée, elle change toutes les perspectives des autres. Mais l'importance primaire, c'est de changer la perspective humaine. La Torah est pour amener dans le fond l'individu à changer sa perspective. The Torah makes you think differently and makes you not overreact, but make abstraction of what you are in order to be open to the rest of the world surrounding you. So I don't know.
So you got that. I'm giving it over, and you got that. What happened that you got it? How do you? What was the sensation of getting it?
It's like light. It's like when you understand something.
How did you feel?
Complete.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So now do you get it?
Yeah.
I have a need. I got something. When I got it, you and I were talking. Actually, here's the process. Now let's step out of reality for a second, okay? You asked me, why do I do what I do? It bothered me because I didn't have an answer, right? So it stirred up. You shook my world, right? You broke up my world. You asked me to move, like Hugo. We're gonna move to their location. I was focused on drinking some iced tea and giving a class, and then you use like hard language on purpose, right? It bothered me, not in a bad way. It bothered me to stop, sit, and really think what you said. That's called
Changing your plans,
yeah. It bothered me to the point where it was now such a bother. It required attention to you that I had to address the attention. That shook my world, and it sent the light up. You released my energy. I had energy built up from this, and you released it. Right? I no longer had a desire to teach this for the time being. Right? Just like a male-female. So as you released the energy, and we were talking, the conversation went down, right? To the point where it stopped. You asked me what I do, and then I said, I like what I do, right? And stopped. Now I could have given you a trite answer, a shallow answer, but kept you uncomfortable and bothered you, or I could receive the light. You shook my world, the light went up. I chose to be with free will, right? I chose to be a vessel to receive the light. I got your answer. I wasn't planning on it. I was going to do this. But you shook my world so much, and for the 1 minute we were waiting on Hugo to get the iced tea, which that's the mazel, that's the divine providence. He brought us here. He shook my world. Then he wanted the iced tea. You got the wrong thing. That gave us 3 minutes to get a relationship where it was enough to stop me, break it up, return the light energy. Then I am trained to do what I do. I chose, all right, be a vessel. So I did. And right when everybody converged, everyone came back right on time, I realized what it was, the answer to your question. And then I realized not only was it the answer to your question, but it was akin to what this is all about. So I decided that we were going to go ahead and just do a Kabbalistic discourse from the first page of all standard Kabbalah. So what it did was, I got so much in me from this, I had to give it over. I had to tell you. I had to tell everybody. I had to. Otherwise, I'm really not interested in you. So that means all the effort you put in breaking up my world would have just been for what? Throwing you out for what? We already invested all this stuff. I might as well tell you, right? So I had a desire to give it over to you. It's the cheshik, desire. When I gave it over to you, you had a sensation. You got it. I became Mayan Duchrin, the male waters coming to you, right? I shook up your world. You released the energy. And then you elevated the concepts that you got a light to come down. You chose to be a vessel. And you were able to tell me what it was. You were able to give the light back. And then you shook my world. And then I released my old energy. I became Mayan Nukvin, and you became Mayan Duchrin. If you didn't want to tell me, you would have said, I don't want to tell you. But you told me. And then I became aroused. And the energy went up. And that's called a conversation. Communication. But spiritually, it became holy. It wasn't accidental. Like, who's your favorite football player? Oh, I like this guy. And we're excited. I want to hear about how you won the lottery. I want to hear about how you drank beer. It excites me, so to speak. But we never knew it was godliness. Now it's the same exact thing. Football, beer, everything, but it's holy. Now it's iced tea. Now it's Kabbalah. And now you're aware of the godliness in the exchange. So again, the answer is when you get light from Torah, you have to give it over. It's how light works. You see? So when you give it over, it doesn't work unless somebody elevates your light. And then I'm not settled unless you're settled. So if I get all this light and I keep it for myself, there's no such thing as one. A pitcher without a cup without a pitcher. So if I get light and I don't give it over, break up your world, then retroactively my world never broke up. So I didn't receive anything. It comes back to hurt me. It's like taking this and pouring it on my head. It's ridiculous. So once I agree to give it over, God will continue to give me light. And then what it does is it breaks up your world. And you chose to get light. Now it just goes around the world. So when you fixed the floor, whatever it was, you received shefa to do it. Inspiration to do it. You had to tell her. As Russell would say, you can't not tell her. Then you shook up her world. She becomes aroused. You give over the Mayan Duchrin. She becomes Mayan Nukvin. She elevates the concept. She gave you pleasure by saying, Yesher Koyach, way to go, you did good. And then it shook up your world. And then it just goes from there. However strong the achievement is how strong the light is. Right? So if you do a small thing, it gets a small reverberation. If you do a big thing, you get a lot of reverberation. Ger is the biggest thing, in my opinion, in the world. It's Tikkun Olam was 7 billion people. So when I got Ger in the Torah, imagine that light that came down. It is impossible not to teach people Ger once you get Ger. Impossible. So I'm still living off the light that came down. So why do I do what I'm doing? Because there's a constant flow of light breaking up my world. In order to find satisfaction in that, I have to then ruin everybody else's world, so to speak, and they have to deal with it. And when they get it, it's an arousal, and they elevate the concept. So like when David got it last night, there was a huge arousal. Right? The whole room was like, fine, okay, we're okay, David got it, right? And then that goes up. And then David got the light. David is now angry at me, saying, now I got this light, what do I do with it, Rabbi Katz? And I'm saying, don't tell me, go and just do what you got to do. Spread the light. That's all you can do. The more light you get, the more it becomes your life. So this is the source. So this is all I can do. If you're not that much part of the source, then you're getting light in other ways. But until I choose to no longer be a vessel to this is all I can do.
I have a question, I don't know if I can.
Yeah.
What was the desire of HaKadosh Baruch Hu when he created humankind? And because he created Gerim,
Everybody wants to know the answer to that question. I don't know.
I knew, I had a quite good idea about the answer, but thinking about it.
I think the answer is that we cannot be the same. I thought of this on the plane ride over. We have to be created different for there to be a creation.
But talking about this kind of vibration and the exchange of vessels, that's specific to the humans. Right?
Yes.
The relationship between...
That is man's job, is working with God and being the crown of creation. All of creation serves man in this service.
Something to do between this relationship and why HaKadosh Baruch Hu created us. Of course, there is no answer because of...
Well, so the interesting thing about creation, life is good when you're a real man. We're born with the Yetzer Hara. We want lollipops and McDonald's. King David says the real meaning of life is Donald Trump. Politics, government, money, laws. Not that that's the good part. When man exists that's the reality of man. That's our reality. The squirrels of the world have nuts and trees and grass. Cows go moo. That's their world, moo. Mankind, they go and they put liquid in containers, then they have cookies and they have pens, and they write stuff down. That is the plight of man. We're not in a fish tank with water. We're in worlds with pens and books and recorders and tables and chairs. And we pay people to saw off legs and put it together and make chairs. That's our reality, our construct. Your construct is not playing with Legos and eating lollipops like you thought it was. The real life of man is served this way. It's like getting a job is part of man. Not because you have to work, you have a bracha to work. And you're only afraid because as a kid you said, how am I going to do that? That's hard. You didn't count on God giving you your bracha. A cow has a bracha to go moo. He says, when he's a bad calf, he says, how am I going to be like the big cows that go moo? And one day he says, moo. A kid says, how am I going to make a living and get a table and chairs? He doesn't realize you are created to make a table and chairs. That's what you are created to do. So when man finds his place in his world, where he sings instead of says moo, then he is in with the creation. The whole animal kingdom serves the chair of man. Right? Like the Torah scroll is an animal hide. The animal was created in a natural construct to serve to become the hide of a Torah scroll. Right? The whole world, the tree serves to become the fabric of a seat for man. Not because we're kings and rulers. It becomes the material of our reality. Right? The fish eats the bigger fish. The big fish eats a small fish, and the small fish is incorporated in the being of the fish. Their world is in our world, but we have a world. We have to be man. We have to exist as man. We have to live as man. We can't escape it. When you find your place, that's happiness. The fish and the water become one. A man and his element is one. When you master that spiritually, you're aware of the providential nature, the mazel, the wisdom, and the pleasure.
It's very good to remind us that, but when you think about the bad interpretation of this kind of feeling and how many people manipulated the rest of the world through this kind of concept, because you're going through something that is much more, which is deepest.
I just want to say, I was just startled, but it was startled. I wasn't upset. So go ahead. When Reuven does it in my office, like a reaction. I have kids, so it's when they do it. It's like I give a response. I give my kids the same response. Go ahead. Start with it.
No. I mean, we could imagine a pastor or a clergyman trying to say what you said, but without the need. You can't compare it because we're talking about something different. We're talking
the Torah, tree of life. That's why it's called the tree of life.
But these themes have been taken and badly explained to the people.
Right.
In the sense that the concept of life.
Right. This is what I'm saying. King David's model. No one embraces life. Laws and countries and religions. It's life of man. You're born into it. That's what King David's saying. You're born into false religions and false doctrines. It's life.
It's life.
The fly has natural elements that aren't good. Right? But it still must live. There's a fly trap looking to kill it. And he says, wow, don't go near the fly trap. It's life. It's not a bad thing. You need to live in the good.
We can imagine the world as a huge race, having at the departure 7.5 million of people, and at the arrival, having few people in terms of connecting to.
Well, they would rather the football game than the godly discussion. That's the whole difference. But life is good. When mankind is mature to enter the realm of the good of life and not be bothered by the economies or the religions and the governments and fatigue, but the bracha in making a chair, taking your bracha, living with your bracha, and not everyone wants an escape from reality. Living in the construct is good, but it takes a maturity to view it as good. And then when you're that reality is the only reality that works in influence and arousal and release and receive. Resolve Kabbalah in 1 foot. It's only when you get a thrill to sit in a nice chair at a clean table and have a cold iced tea and a cup and make a bracha and drink and be satisfied. If you can call that the good of life, you're in reality. Then you can start to influence and have your world shaken and choose to be a vessel, do the whole Kabbalistic rotation. Then it's good. You get an arousal from that. But if you're looking for a lollipop at McDonald's, you won't get the arousal. You're always going to be a little bit bored, a little bit unhappy, a little bit tired, a little bit. But when you're in life and still can call it good, which the Ramchal says is called very good, because some would say that this is nothing. I want a tall glass of wine and a cold iced tea on a flat, clean table is good. A chair that you can sit down. I mean, living in this world, living is good. That's where Kabbalah only. That's the only world that Kabbalah works in. Huh? Asiya. That's really right. Right? When you connect to Asiya, you're looking for a Silas and Bria. It only works in a proper Asiya. It's a great way of saying it. A real Asiya. So it's always like the cliche. But the joke is, the most Kabbalistic, profound things are the most boring, basic things. But finding the spirituality, like 7 Laws of Noah is the highest spirituality. Because it's the lowest, most boring Asiya. But when you connect to it, it's brilliant. Mohin the God loot. But if you're looking for Tzilas, then the Asiya will bore you to death. Bore you. But if you realize that Tzilas is in Asiya, it's the highest good there is. You should live a very normal and boring life.
Having just 7 laws, make us much more creative and they.
Yeah.
It's asking.
You need to learn to appreciate a normal, boring life, where you cannot tell the difference between the brilliant spirituality and nothing here, folks. Because if you can live nothing here, folks, then you're living the ultimate spiritual creativity. It's cliche, but it's a great Hollywood cliche. If you can merge your life with the canvas. In wrestling, that's the secret of wrestling. There's a move in wrestling called post up. A guy goes for your leg, yeah, or you go for his leg, and he puts his hips in, right? You post. When you post, just like this, it's impossible scientifically to move your arm. You can sit here all day, and if he's fighting, just sit here. He'll waste all of his energy because you become literally one with the mat. wrestling becomes a spiritual marvel when you do it right. That's man. Kobe Bryant, basketball players, when they do it right with the flick of the wrist, if you do it right, you merge with creation. The arc of the hoop and the spin, you merge with creation. But if you're mimicking creation, you're never going to be satisfied. So the pure basketball player, the pure artist, the pure craftsman, the pure man, the pure, you are so boring and meat potatoes to what... It's like, they used to say, like a craftsman makes it look easy. Hey, why is wrestling drive me crazy? Because the better the wrestler you are, they make it look simple. When you say, "What? That was me. I could have done that. I was better. I could have done that." You didn't notice that's his job to make it look simple. That's the brilliance. Rabbi Nachman says that mastering something is simple. And Noahide is the most simple in Torah. Jessica and I were talking about this last night. I think last night, whatever it was. Make the most simple is the most brilliant. So if you can,
it's not the KISS principle, eh?
That's right. That's right. I think that's what Ger suffers from the most. Is I think we've done the work of making it look really simple. Some people hear it, they're like, "What is it?" And then you open it up, and it's like, "Wait a minute! I thought it was simple." It is. It's beyond simple. It's so simple, you really don't need to talk about it. But you ask me to talk about it, so it becomes complicated.
If you ask you, it was because it was that.
Right.
It's not that obvious to clarify the situation.
Right. So that's it. So life becomes, you find the spirituality when life becomes ultra simple. So that's what you're saying. I knew what you were thinking when you fixed the floor, whatever it was. It sounded like simple and stupid. No, that's the brilliance. That's the light. That's the Kabbalah. So I knew your answer was going to say you told your wife. That was obvious. And then when she was going to tell someone, I knew that. It was not a surprise. But I needed you to experience, number one, hearing yourself say it, and then realizing why you did it. And you felt good about it. You were concerned about me more than yourself. You were thinking, I wouldn't find it interesting that you did it. I wouldn't give you the same approval that you got from your wife when you did it. I would think it's stupid. Don't worry about me. Let me deal with my own issues. You need to be honest with yourself, how you felt and how you did it. You see what I'm saying? That's your light. It's your spirituality. And the problem with Job is everybody wants to tell Job what Job's problem is. Let Job be Job. You're looking for me for comfort, like Job. We live the Torah. And then Job is telling you, I'm not giving you advice. Just be Job. Just be you. And that's really the secret of Job. So that's the story. So Kabbalah lives in those realities. But again, we're not used to the holiness of thinking there. You thought it was mundane what I asked you to talk about. You made it mundane. You need to see that it was holy. You see what I'm saying? You need to connect to your own inner holiness in what you do. Because when you look for satisfaction from people that are not holy, then they're going to make you not holy. And when they make you not holy, they turn you into klippah. But if you leave the klippah out and you just become holy and simple, then you become satisfied. And then we already know the answer. You do what you do. Nothing changed. You keep doing what you do. But now it has meaning and you keep going with fervor and connecting to God. Stop recording.